Good morning. Hi. Hello. So I just finished my morning walk. I'm still sitting in the car. And while I was walking, I was interpreting the dream that woke me up out of my sleep this morning. And in the dream, I was in a hospital and I had an appointment for the oncology department. So that's where I was headed. And I needed to go to the fourth floor. So I'm in the elevator. And when I'm in the elevator with a couple of celebrities. The first one being the lady who played Angela Martin on The Office. So if you're familiar with The Office, then you know Angela and her character and what she embodied. And then the second one was a man. I can't remember who he was, so he's irrelevant. But so while we're on the elevator, we're trying to get to where we need to go, but the elevator keeps taking us all the way up, and then it keeps taking us all the way down, all the way up, and all the way down. Finally, it lets them off on their floor, and then I finally get to the fourth floor and I get off of the elevator. When I get off of the elevator, there is a group of older folks sitting in the waiting area, waiting for their appointments. And while they're waiting, they're singing praise and worship songs. And I know what the song is because I was singing it with them, but I can't recall the name of the song right now. But somebody was leading them through praise and worship songs. You know, they're there, they're sick, but they're praising and they're worshiping. That's important. So keep that in mind. So then I finally make it to where I need to go. The lady tells me that I need to go over there and that I need to undress so that I can do what I need to do. And that's whenever I woke up from the dream. Um, and so that's like the short end of the dream, short story. And so as I'm walking, I'm asking God, what is the message that you want me to share as a result of this dream? And the message that is coming through is that Spirit wants you to hear that your attitude is the cancer. Your attitude is the cancer. Your attitude about yourself, your attitude that you have towards other people, your attitude that you have towards life in general is the cancer. And Spirit wants you to hear that the cancer is beginning to spread. And in order for you to stop it from spreading completely and taking over completely, you need to fix your attitude. The reason why Angela Martin is important to this is because Angela was the one in the office who always had a very negative attitude, right? She always had a negative attitude. She always had something negative to say. That was just her disposition, right? And so, Spirit is saying that many of you are walking around like Angela Martin right now. No matter what, no matter what, no matter what, you always seem to have a bad attitude. You always seem to have a negative attitude, no matter what. And then you're left wondering why things happen the way that they happen in your life. And it's because your attitude is emitting a frequency and life is meeting you at that frequency, right? Life is meeting you there. And Spirit wants you to hear that in order for your life to change, in order for you to experience the transformation that you desire, you have to make a decision to fix your attitude. Now, the reason why the praise and worship was important is because these people were sitting in the waiting area. They're all cancer patients. They're waiting for their appointments. They're waiting for whatever it is that they're waiting for, chemo, whatever. They're all sitting around the waiting area and they're singing praise and worship songs, right? Cancer is probably one of the worst things that you could go through. And they're all sitting around singing praise and worship songs. And so maybe that's something that you begin to do in your daily life. Instead of waking up listening to whatever it is that you listen to, maybe you start your day with some praise and worship because that's going to help you adjust your attitude, right? You have to start doing things that will help you move through the process of adjusting your attitude and listening to praise and worship songs, even if you're no longer in a space of identifying with Christianity. Praise and worship songs, there's an energy behind them, and it's that energy behind the praise and worship songs that Spirit is asking you to embody. The other thing that Spirit really wants me to emphasize is that something that I always say to people whenever I'm working with them is that healing is in the awareness. And so you cannot be hearing this message, receiving this message, and then not make the decision to fix your attitude, right? Because if you have the awareness that you need to change your attitude, that you need to change your perspective, that you need to change your thought patterns, and then you don't make the decision to do that, you just keep living with the same old attitude, Spirit wants you to hear that things are going to get harder for you. Things are not going to just become all peaches and cream because that's just what you want. Things are going to get harder because you're not standing on the awareness. You know, we talk about standing on business. Well, are you standing on your awareness? Are you allowing this little bit of awareness that you now have to move you, to propel you forward? If not, things are going to get harder. And they're only going to get harder in order for you to begin to see. And if that's what you need, so be it, amen. But Spirit wants you to hear that it doesn't have to be that way. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out a journal or some paper, something to write with, and I want you to sit with this question. And the question says, why do I feel so comfortable living with a bad attitude? Why does living with a bad attitude feel safe to me? Why does living with a bad attitude feel normal to me? And then once you sit with that question and you allow yourself to reflect over that for a little while, I want you to sit with another question, and I want you to make a decision about one thing that you want to see change in your life. And then I want you to ask yourself or write down the question, which is, what attitude do I need to begin to embody in order for this one thing to change? And I want you to give yourself permission to embody and integrate this new attitude over the next 30 days. And then after the 30 days is over, I want you to see what has changed. It may not even be that one particular thing, but I want you to reflect and identify what has changed as a result of you changing your attitude. It may be that one thing, and then it may be a host of other things that have changed, but you really have to be intentional about making the decision to embody a new attitude so that you can experience the shift, change, and transformation that you desire to experience. I love you.